welcome to 5 Minute Fridays. As you can see, there's a bit of a different setup today, but mainly that's because we're actually going to be doing product photography. So I actually have about two different views, A view, B view over here, and top view of the products. And so what we're actually going to be doing is just doing a very super simple product overlay shot to actually get really good product shots. So as of recently, I've been doing a lot of product shots for a couple companies, and I thought I'd kind of show you the very simple case on how I actually do product shots. So over here, we have a very simple overlay view or a top-down shot of the camera. And what I'm actually going to show you is how you could actually make a lot of these product shots look really good. So here we just have a simple watch. So let's pretend you're contracted by a company to actually get a shot like this. So on its own, it doesn't look too interesting, right? It looks a little bit dull. And so what we're actually going to do is actually work with our light here. So just adding the light alone and kind of getting a feel for how it's going to look will actually help us get a good idea of how it's going to be. So this is actually a very small little light. It's by a company called Hobolight. And I've been testing this light out for a couple different reasons, mainly because it's very portable and easy to use, and it comes with quite a few different accessories like this diffuse box here. And very easy to use this light, really compact, and I've been actually taking it with shoots with me. So this is actually going to be our main key light for our subject here, the watch. So what I recommend is actually to get a couple items as well. So if we're going to be doing just the shot of the watch itself, it would be kind of boring. So let's actually add a few items of interest to make this, photo a little more interesting. So I got a couple things. So since this is kind of like a everyday shot, what you want to do is kind of add a couple items of interest that kind of accent the everyday carry. So in this case, I'm going to be adding a flashlight right here. So let's kind of get a good position right here. I'm going to also be adding this little tool kit. Let's actually put it over here. Real quick, I know this is the middle of the tutorial, but before I forget, what you want to actually use to actually photograph these is usually a lens that's pretty wide, not wide, but pretty long, so a long photo lens. In this case, I'm actually using the Nikkor M105 macro lens. And if you have a 70-200, that would actually be ideal. The only reason I'm using this fixed macro lens is mostly because I'm going to be manually moving this C-stand up and down to actually take the photo. But the reason you want that is because you don't want too much vibration or shake. So primes work best, but if you have a zoom lens, that works too. Just try to make sure it's above 85 or higher, just because you'll get a better depth of field and you won't get too much to work with. Yeah, just a quick little message there. Back to the tutorial. Looks a little better that way. All right, and let's see. And just because it is also camera stuff, let's also just add other interesting things into the foreground. And on its own, just with a light and a couple pieces of interest, we're already bringing this shot of the watch to be a way more interesting perspective. So let's actually so on its own, it's already looking pretty good, just getting the dimensions. We have a good background, we have a couple items in the foreground, and we got the watch. Let's also add another piece of interest, raise the watch a little bit. So let's actually put the watch on top of here. Let's see, so that's looking better. Let's see, let's add this here, it's here. And since I do have a C-stand here, let's actually raise this a little bit higher. There we go, that's looking better. And let's reposition the light a little bit. Okay, so right now the light is shining at about 3500 Kelvin. Let's actually brighten it a bit, add a little bit of dimension. How's that looking? Okay, so if you haven't seen just yet, I've actually raised the light quite a bit. And I actually angled it a little bit different to face the watch. And because this right here is going to be shining some chrome, let's actually shift a few items around. Okay, So that's looking pretty good. It's got quite a bit of texture. Let's back a little bit. Okay, I like how that's looking. Okay. Let me see if we could add a couple more pieces of interest. So maybe this old film camera, and just put it off in the side and see if you could just barely notice it. There we go. That's looking pretty good. There we go. All right. And this is looking pretty good. Let me actually manually move this. Oh, I like that. And so on its own, it's actually looking pretty good. Let's actually try to get as narrow of a depth of field as we can. There we go. Right about here. That is the shot right there. So we have some good foreground, we have some good items, and we have some elevation that really helps to highlight the watch itself. So let's actually go away from photo mode for a second, or video mode, and take a photo. So that's looking good. Yeah, there we go. And that's basically a basic setup of how you actually do very simple product photography. You want to get some good background design, you got to get a good elevation of the product, you want to get some accenting products around. In this case, since it is kind of a watch that we're doing in this case my Garmin, we want some EDC sort of like items to kind of accent that. So again, it's looking really good, and we're going to be, turn on the light here, get some shots. And this is the final result. All right, so very simple bird's eye view of how to get really good product shots. I could show you some very simple presets on how to edit these, but in most cases, when you're getting product shots, you want to get very detailed and designed shots of what you're doing. So I'm actually going to get another close-up of the watch real quick, since we are going to be showcasing the watch itself. Let's make sure it's at least not too dirty here. There we go. I like that. That is looking good. And the idea really with this is you're just trying to play around with the design and color, really. Just get a good idea of what you're trying to shoot here. And basically with top-down shots, you just want to add a lot of depth of field with different items, and the main focus is to keep the item that you're photographing in center and as detailed as possible. So that's been your 5-Minute Friday, really. And that's kind of how I kind of handle a lot of these top-down product shots. In another video, I'll kind of showcase another way you could actually build a whole set and do, let's say, 45-degree or full-on shots to do video and other sort of things. But this has kind of been a very super simple setup for doing a lot of these simple product shots. Again, you don't need a C-stand or something too complicated with lights here like I do, but it helps a lot to get really good product design shots of what you're actually shooting. So again, remember, this is the basics of how to get product shots. If you like these sort of videos, like and subscribe, more videos to come. And yeah, this has kind of been your 5-Minute Fridays for product photography. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.